about tell us about your dad and how he was that devoted caregiver and husband for your mom.
Yeah, well, I mean, Dad's a man's man. I mean, he was outdoorsman, farmer, mechanic. He was a meat cutter in the grocery store. But so when Mama got her diagnosis, she'd been sick probably about a year or so before that. Got a diagnosis. Dad said, "Well, I'm going to quit work. I'm going to take care of." I said, "We're going to get some help, Dad." He said, "No, no, no, I'm going to do this." You see, that's Pop. You know, I got a little bit of that in me. And I said, "This is going to be a train wreck. I mean, Dad can't do this." Well, anyway, sure enough, what happened was Dad took care of her about a year and a half, and so afterwards, I mean, he bathed her, he cooked, he cleaned the house, took her to the doctor, everything. Daily rosary, we always pray the rosaries. 58 years since I was a little kid, Dad had been saying the daily rosary, and so after her death, I told Dad, I said, "Dad, you know," I said, "Man, I watched you." I said, "I learned a lot." I said, "You taught me about being a man and being, a Christian." But I said, this last year and a half, I said, it really was, an intense lesson on that. And I said, I watched your suffering, and I watched that labor of love. He said, "Mike," he said, that wasn't work. He said, "It was a joy to do that for your mama, with tears." And certainly, that was the case. Because when we love, you see, it's an opportunity. So this is an important aspect, is the greatest, a medical doctor told me this one time. He was the director of hospice. Said the greatest gift we can give our loved ones is to allow them to care for us in our last days. You see, but I see pride keeps it. "Oh, I don't be a burden. I'll be a burden." And as if that's great charity. Sometimes it's not great charity. It's a lack of humility. You follow me? And it's a selfishness. So one thing that Jesus does, which kind of shocks men, is he let Veronica wipe his face. From tradition, we have the sixth station of the cross, Veronica wipes his face. He let the woman break the alabaster jar of perfume and anoint his feet. You see, that waste could have been given to the poor. You see, and Jesus says, "Be quiet." You see, she's anointed. You see, you're missing the act of charity. He lets Simon of Cyrene carry his cross. He lets these things happen that probably if I'm honest, I put myself in that situation. I push. I got this. I'm gonna get dirty anyway. I got it. I don't need that. You see. And yet Jesus is human. He does need it. He needs human love, and in his humanity, and it's a great act of charity to allow us to express. We all need to love, and so Mother Teresa would say this, that God is a loving and being a love. That's her Trinitarian theology. God is loving and being love. God the Father begetting, loving, and to the other, always eternally, and the Son in eternal gratitude, receiving that in infinite receptivity and giving thanksgiving back. You see, that's, and their reciprocity of love is the person, the Holy Spirit. So God is a loving and being love. That's Mother Teresa. And the vocation of every human person is to love and be loved. Nobody is ever happier than when they're either loving or being loved. And I remember one time Mother Teresa there was a little baby that was a preemie that was born, it wasn't viable, but the baby was born, baptized, and Mother Teresa gave it to a volunteer. It was at Shishu Bhavan. It was at a little orphanage in Calcutta. And so Mother Teresa gave the little baby to the volunteer, as a woman to hold. And she says, "Mother, what you want me to do?" She says, "Love that little baby until it dies. Because that's why we all have been created, to love and be loved." You see? And so the person, it reaches their nature, reaches their end, can click on all cylinders when they're either loving or being loved. And that's why Mother Teresa would talk about the joy of loving. So that's why Dad can say, it was a joy to do that for your mom, you see. And that's why there's a certain joy in the heart of Jesus at the crucifixion when he looks and sees his mother. It's a suffering on one level, but it's a great joy. You see, not to be alone, to be with one who understands, with one who cares, even though she's not doing anything to alleviate his sufferings. You see, concretely, she's there